It's grand finals time. Enough chat interaction. I'm not interacting with you nerds anymore, because instead I'm going to interact with the players. Spawning in the upper left-hand corner of Site Delta, we have the Red Terran. For Dragon Kitesy Gaming, it is Oliveira, the current reigning world champion. And he's not the only world champion in this finals right now. The current reigning BlizzCon world champion, since there has not been a BlizzCon since then. Hit in the lower right-hand corner, we have Dragon Kitesy's Dark. That's kind of funny, actually. I never really thought about that, but yeah, Dark won the last BlizzCon, the last WCS World Championship. Since then, the World Championships have been at IM Katowice. But Dark is still the reigning BlizzCon champion. Nobody has taken that title from him. So we have both of the reigning world champions, WCS and ESL world champions here, in a match against each other. And I'm definitely going to try to remember to use that for the YouTube title, or at least the YouTube description. I'll make a mental note of that. Speaking of which, if you're watching this on YouTube, consider hitting that subscribe button, subscribing to my YouTube channel, where I post near daily, sometimes even more than once daily, matches of StarCraft. You can get such bangers as Hero versus Dark. Sometimes there's Hero versus Dark. Other times, there'll be Hero versus Dark. And then last week, I posted 2 best of 11 series that were like 2 hours long each, because, you know, I like to keep it fresh. If only it was Hero versus Dark. Maybe that's what we should do. If we ever have to just end KSL, we'll just have like one final KSL, but it'll be a Hero versus Dark best of 11. Could do a winner takes all. You don't see tournaments like that very often, do you? Winner takes all. Best of 11, Hero versus Dark. That's some good content right there. Oliveira going to be nice and annoying with this Reaper. Now, we did see Oliveira earlier against DRG playing some very solid Terran. That was pretty straightforward Terran. And it looks like he's going to be doing something very similar here. This is looking like 3CC into Hellions. Probably going to have that Liberator once again, but he's not up against DRG. He is up against Dark. And Dark, I mean, he could play this standard. He could just Queens and Lings to defend, try to deflect and get himself up to 75, 80 workers, 4 bases, quick hive. Dark likes to do that. Or he could do this cool thing called build the Roach. And Dark does really like to build the Roach. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Namely because Oliveira, in those games against DRG, did not go for Banshees. And I think I'm really interested here if he's going to do it against Dark. Because I think against Dark, you really want to go Banshees. Dark so often just loves to make Roaches that to me, it's scary to go for something like a Liberator, which sure, you can use it defensively if you happen to scout the Roaches. But if that's on the other side of the map, and it's trying to siege up behind a base, and you got Roaches hitting your natural, it is the least helpful thing in the world. It looks like, though, Dark is not going to be going for any Roaches, at least no big early Roach attack. So Oliveira doesn't really have to worry. He can send that Liberator across the map and keep pumping those Hellions. Those Hellions. Hero didn't play today. I know I mentioned him like 8 times just now, and we're very used to seeing those Hero versus Dark finals in the KSL. But Hero decided not to play in this one. I don't know if he's busy. Maybe he's got a date. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Hero, one of the coolest pro gamers out there. Of course, very famously skateboarded to GSL and then won GSL and then skateboarded away. And if that's not the coolest thing a gamer can do, I don't know what is. That was pretty slick from Oliveira, though. He friendly fired, hit the rocks, and then friendly fired on the creep tumor. Or not friendly fired, no, splash damage on the creep tumor. Dark gonna lose a queen to the Liberator, and this is such a classic Dark move. Oh my god, he's gonna lose another one. You gotta be kidding me. Dark, please stop. Dark! Oh no, dude. Okay, finally it goes down. Was that 4 queens? 4 queens to that one Liberator. Dark just not paying attention. Did the Hellions die? The Hellions all died. So that's what he was watching. We weren't watching that. 4 queens just died. And now Dark's going to run across the map with Lings. Granted, the Hellions aren't here anymore, but there's enough Marines behind that wall where, I mean, Lings sitting out here isn't really that scary. Although, this is going to work out really nicely for Dark. Ooh, he's hiding a big group of the Lings. He's trying to wait until these Marines come out, and then he's going to hit. Stim is done, but Combat Shields is not. And those Marines are going to get minced up by the Lings. SCV's trying to leave, but Oliveira's going to have to lift up the wall, and he just lost a bunch of his Marines. This is really nice for Dark. That is totally worth killing, losing those 4 points. As nice as having them alive would be, he's just going to build like a bunch more anyway. So he seems to be just fine back at home. Those Lings killing not only 6 SCVs, delaying the 3rd a little bit, but killing those Marines means that Oliveira can't just move out immediately. We see him just kind of chilling. He's waiting for more Marines. He doesn't feel like he can put that pressure on just yet. Actually going to boost the empty Medivacs forward to maybe try to threaten Dark and force him to build some units, I guess. I don't know what else these Medivacs could be doing, but maybe trying to draw the Lings into a counterattack into the Marines that have been left at home. I don't know. It's so funny that Dark very consistently does that, though. He just walks his queens into Liberators, and he's like, well, they'll kill it. Just lets them die. But Dark, he's got 6 mutas on the way, and he's going to commit to these mutas. He's +1 coming out. They're pretty quick mutas, all things considered. He's got enough Lings and Banes, I think, to deflect this. Oliveira just pushing through the creep right now. That could give these mutas a chance to move around the top side and start hitting these bases. There are no missile turrets anywhere. Oliveira is so not ready for mutas to come out of Dark. Beautiful draw from that Widowmine shot there as well. I mean, I think Dark's looking fantastic here. This is a fantastic setup for him. He's got enough defense to hold on back at home. That Widowmine didn't even get a kill. And now the Baneling's getting targeted down, but the Marine's forced to lift. At the same time, SCV is getting hit back at home. Oliveira, no, don't stack up. Oliveira, no. Oh my god, the glaives, they're bouncing. Whew. You do not want to stack up against mutas. That was so scary. Fortunately, not quite enough mutas here from Dark to kill every single one of those. Widowmine gets one on the way out, but that's still 9 SCVs going down just for the first set of mutas. These Widowmines are just coming out of nowhere, though. There are more mutas coming behind this. 10 of them are in the skies right now. But Oliveira already has a Thor on the way. And Big Daddy Thor can be quite good against these smaller counts of mutas. Very interesting choice to get straight into the Thor. I feel like I don't see that often, but I guess since he already had the tech lab to get drilling claws out, might as well pump out a Thor. That being said, this has pulled the pressure completely off of Dark, so he's got a 5th base on the way. He's up to 77 drones. He's got to be feeling pretty good about his situation. Still no hive, though. And that's a little surprising for Dark. Usually, he's very quick into the hive. There's a nice sensor tower for Oliveira as well. Going to keep an eye on all the units over on this side while he tries to take a 4th base on the left. Lings and mutas thinking about going in. A nice little kill on that Widowmine there. That's a ton of Banelings. 35 Banelings being morphed right now. Dark, he's not going to the hive. He is spending all of his money on units. He is very far away from these upgrades being done, though, so he's going to be down 2 full upgrades against this bio. Some Widowmines going off. The Banelings rolling in first, getting some decent connections, actually. And the mutas hitting on the backside as well. There might just be way too much here for Dark. He is cleaning up so much of Oliveira's army, and Oliveira is just forced to tap out. GG. Honestly, the supplies stayed pretty similar for a minute there. I thought maybe I was overselling that it was the end of the game, and then Oliveira tapped out, confirming that, yep, that was too much Zerg, too much Dark. I can't believe after losing 4 queens to the Liberator, that feels like it should be such a huge deal. When you only have like 8 queens out and you just lose half of them right at the start of the game. I didn't see what happened to those Hellions. I kind of assume they ran into a group of Lings and some queens, the other queens that were not there dying to the Liberator. Because I only saw 2 drones die. So I don't think the Hellions really got anything done. And it's something I bring up kind of a lot in TVZ. There's a choice that the Terran has to make at some point, which is, okay, I have 6 Hellions, maybe 8 Hellions. Do I want to sacrifice them, dive in, try to get drone damage, or at least trade for all of the Lings, maybe kill some drones? Or do I just save them? Trade out with a couple of Lings, go in far enough to force the Lings out, you hit them a little bit, you back up, and then hold on to those for the future. The first Oliveira DRG game, he actually saved all his Hellions and used them later on in a push, and for me personally, I think that's the better choice. I think diving in with the Hellions is almost always the wrong choice for the Terran. We saw our Terran, who's now spawning in the lower right-hand corner. Oliveira doing that in the last game. He dove in with those Hellions, and every single one of them died for basically nothing. And I feel like that's what happens a lot of times. I don't think it's worth it even to kill some drones. Unless you end up getting like 15 or 18 drones, I don't think it's worth it to dive in. But we'll see if Game 2 brings us anything different. Spawning in the upper left-hand corner of Hard Lead, it is Dragon Kite's Dark. Is that pool first? Ooh, spooky. Kind of a later pool first. This isn't like a cheeky, super early pool trying to get in there. This is a slightly later pool. It makes me wonder if this is going to be more committed out of Dark. Interesting. But yeah, these guys are both teammates. I don't know how often they practice against each other. I mean, I imagine they hit each other quite often if they play on ladder. I wouldn't be too surprised if they practice against each other, but I don't know how often Oliveira practices with a lot of the Koreans. I genuinely don't know. Well, I'll be very interested to see what happens in this game. I really do think holding on to those Hellions, there's very few scenarios where I think it's worth it to dive the Hellions in. And we kind of saw in that last game the detriment to losing all those Hellions, which is that if the Lings want to counterattack and you don't have enough Marines out yet, you kind of have to stay at home. I mean, Dark played that perfectly. He really baited Oliveira out with his Marines, and it delayed Oliveira's next push, and all that damage that was done earlier on was completely negated very quickly by Dark. Early pool is going to get these 2 Lings out and these 4 Lings out, and they're going to do the important job of holding the watchtower. Do the Chinese players prefer the Korean or Singapore server? I believe the Korean server. I think in general, the Chinese players play on the Korean server. I'm not like 100%, but I think that's generally true. The thing about it is, I mean, I don't know. The ping might be slightly better for some of them on the Korean server, but it also depends on like how things route. So like internet routing can make things really weird. Oh, Link's trying to sneak in. Not gonna be able to get there. I know so like Australia is much closer to Korea than it is to like the mainland US, right? But something to do with the undersea cables. I remember people in Australia more ping or like the same amount of ping to Korea as they did to US West, which is like that shouldn't happen. There should be less ping to Korea. But the longer the cables are to get there, the more ping there's going to be. So I don't know. Also, the Chinese players aren't going to ladder on Singapore because then you're laddering on the NA server. And why would you do such a silly thing like ladder on the NA server? NA players don't even ladder on the NA server. Anyways, Oliveira's going for a Hellbat push. This is 2 base, straight up. I don't know if I would call this an all-in, but he's pretty committed with it. He does not have a ton going on behind it. He's just on 1-1-1 production. He's going to go for Cloak Banshees with this, too. That Armory's about to finish, and Dark is about to see. These Hellions morph into Hellbats. He's got 9 Roaches on the way, though, because he's Dark. So these Hellbats are about to just run into freshly popped Roaches. This is like the worst nightmare for Oliveira. I actually wouldn't hate to see them morph them back into Hellions. Yeah, and just try to get out of here. Dark will pick off a couple on the retreat. Oh, that medevac. It does get out of there. But, I mean, there's no better way to hold a big Hellbat attack than just by having the Roaches pop right as those Hellbats get to your base. Dark's going to counterattack. Yeah, there's actually nothing here. This is a bit of a problem right now for Oliveira. The Banshee got supply blocked a little bit, so it's not out yet. It's just about to finish. There are some Raptors being morphed, though. Dark, he's committing to this a little bit. He does have a bunch of drones popping behind it, but he's going to try to break through here and at least take down this CC. I think he's going to be able to stop it from coming up, and that is terrible news for Oliveira, who's going to be forced to cancel that base. I think Dark's just happy with that. Like, I think if you're Dark here, you just leave. Well, if he saw that went down, he would have gone right back in to force another cancel. But yeah, this is fantastic for Dark, delaying that third by nearly an entire command center worth of wait time. And now Oliveira has all these Hellbats that are just completely useless. If he had realized those Roaches were coming before swapping the factory, he might have built a couple of Cyclones back at home, but it's a much better position for Dark to be in. He's got his lair about halfway done. No 4th base on the way just yet, but I guess delaying that 3rd means he doesn't have to worry about it too much. Oh, puts it down now. Oliveira puts down a 5th base as well, feeling like he needs to do something. The Banshees are going to come in. Not going to be able to get too much done here. Spore Crawlers are all around. The Queens are in position. Dark is ready for this. A few drones will fall, but at the expense of 1 Banshee already. Ooh, little Hellion drop, though. This is really nice for Oliveira. This is not something I think Dark would be expecting. Well, that Spore Crawler might kill this medevac. It's going to bring the dead drone count up pretty high. Oh, man. Kills the medevac with the Hellion still in it. Bit of miss micro there from Oliveira. Didn't need to lose that. Still, though, gets a handful of workers with those Hellions, which were honestly not going to be all that helpful anywhere else. He's got his 3rd base set up back at home. I don't hate Oliveira's position here. I really thought I was going to. Off the back of that Hellbat attack just getting bopped and the counterattack delaying that 3rd for so long. But I think Dark was pretty committed with those early Roaches. His lair is very late. His 1-1 started up quite late. And now, I mean, the army supply is in favor of Oliveira. That can obviously change very quickly for the Zerg. But I don't hate Oliveira's position. Dark is trying to jump ahead and attack. He's got the infestation pit down, so the hive is started up. But Oliveira's got his 4th base already on location. Dark is going to be able to spot that with his Overlord as it dies. So now Dark is realizing, like, hey, his economy's not that far behind mine. I might need to do something. He's trying to take the 5th base, but that's pretty far away from being up. And Oliveira is catching up in workers. He's got a lot of Marines and Marauders coming out, as well as a few siege tanks. I like Oliveira's position here, but Dark is coming in for the attack. Oliveira needs to realize that he needs to bring all of these units back home. Oh my god, these units need to come down here right now. Oliveira, there's so many bio units. Okay, all right, Dark backs up. God, that was so scary. I thought for sure he was just going to lose everything here before the rest of the army came back, but he's good. He's cruising. He's in position. Dark not committing with the attack, just poking and prodding. But this is the power of Dark going for quick hives. Considering how late his lair was, the fact that there's already Vipers on the way is kind of crazy. But those Vipers can be huge. There's no ghosts out yet for Oliveira. And these tanks are very susceptible, obviously, to being yoinked. But also, in this position right here, imagine like 3 blinding clouds. And this Bioforce would have such a difficult time fighting against the Roaches and Ravagers of Dark. So I think Dark is just trying to tech to a higher, get to a higher level of tech than his opponent's fully ready for. I mean, I think he's doing a great job of it. He's getting into Banelings as well. Oliveira is deciding to push out as he's hitting his supply cap right now. Oh, but he's going to get caught a little bit pants down. Goes for a big stim. Doesn't siege those tanks up, though. Recognizing that he might not have to. Banelings are starting to come in. The Marauders splitting backwards. The tanks siege up, but they are all in vile range. And most of them will fall. This one stays alive just barely. A lot of the bio stays up, too. Oliveira continues to push. Gonna go for a big lift up. Gonna go for a big drop in the main. It looks like wants to try to pull Dark out of position. Nope. Never mind. Just drops right on the creep. Gonna start clearing this creep towards the middle. These Vipers got to be a little bit careful. Parasitic Bomb goes down, but there's enough Marines here to make those Vipers a little scared. Oliveira decides to pick up and leave, but he's got to be really careful with these Parasitic Bombed Medivacs. Looks like he will get out of there and back to some reinforcements. Oliveira wants to keep pushing. Dark continuing to build Lings. The Ravagers, again, trying to take down these tanks. It looks like they will take the tanks down, as well as one of those Medivacs. Oliveira going to pull back. He does have Ghosts coming out now, and those Ghosts are going to be very important, not just against the Vipers, EMPs, and Snipes, but he can also snipe down these Ravagers. The Ravager count is getting kind of out of control. They're very expensive. So if he's able to snipe down 4 or 5 of those, it can make life a lot harder for Dark. Oliveira deciding to go for a couple of drops here on the right and on the left. Trying to clear some creep, maybe get some kills on drones if he can. Liberator pass through the middle of the map and is going to just get sent packing. This one gets a few drones. That's 6 drones going down. Now this base is getting hit. Oliveira doing a fantastic job right now, pulling Dark out of position. He's going to get a kill on a base. Kill 9, 10, 11 drones. What is happening over here? 11 drones going down. As well as clearing a lot of the creep over on this left-hand side of the map. Dark has put some new creep tumors down. But I feel like Oliveira is just doing a great job. Splits the Medivacs against the Parasitic Bombs. He is going to keep that pressure on. I don't know if you saw recently, but we learned that the way the Ravager bile works is it goes up so high. I think it's like 40 cliff units high or whatever. Or yeah, like 40 levels high. And then disappears, and then a new one spawns in the other location where it's supposed to come down. Kind of love it. A little bit of back and forth here. Bile's taking down some of those Widow Mines. Both players nearing max once again. As Dark wants to push in. Needs to be careful. Ooh, we got some EMPs on those Vipers. Not quite. Dark behind this is getting into a Spire. I believe that's Chitinous finishing up, so he could get into Ultras as well. But a lot of Marines and Marauders and Ghosts here as well, holding the top of that ramp. I love the Parasitic Bombs on the Medivacs. This is something I've noticed a lot lately is Zerg players using that energy on Parasitic Bombs. They kind of just poke in, Parasitic Bomb, and leave, and we see the Medivac count is dwindled. 7 of them have gone down this game. There's only 4 on the field. It's going to force Oliveira to build more and more of those. I'd love to see him drop a second starport. Just in case that keeps happening. If you can build 4 at a time, you're kind of Gucci. And, man, you say the words, and Oliveira, he gives it to you. And I appreciate that about him. Widowmine's getting some okay shots off, but just little bits of trades here and there. The trades have actually been very, very close this game. But I feel like the mining has also been very close this game. Pretty back and forth. Vanelings come in once again. Widowmines go off once again. Just explosions absolutely everywhere. Oh, some snipes, though, and that is 2 dead Vipers. That is a great catch for Oliveira, who might have been distracting Dark a little bit with this drop on the top side. Gets some snipes. Kills a bunch of Lings that path the wrong way as well. And Oliveira, his 5th base is fully set up. Mining, ready to go. That being said, Dark is trying to get a 7th base up here. Oliveira might need to do something about that soon. He is pushing on this side, clearing some of that creep once again. There's the cancel on the base. Lings coming into this base. There is not much here to defend them, although the tank buying enough time to get this bio back home. Let's push those Lings away. Do not know what these drones are doing, but these Lings are getting into 4 dropper lords on the right-hand side. I love when Dark does this. Ooh, and he's got some fungals here. Dark's getting all the tools going. Yeah, I don't know what the hell these drones are doing. They're going to go back to mining now. Oh, I guess they ran away from the Liberators. Whew, these Liberators doing a pretty good job before they get taken out. There's nothing in this base to defend. This is a good amount of Lings. What is that? 32 Zerglings dropping out of the dropper lords right now. Oliveira going to try to defend with some of these fresh ghosts. And it looks like there's enough bio nearby to come back up here, but it's going to be a lot of stuff on fire right away. I don't know if we have Burrow available for Dark. He does like to do that in the main bases. Big Widowmine shot here. We'll push him away. Yeah, it looks like no Burrow, at least he chose not to burrow in the main base. Dark loves to burrow Lings kind of all around and either pop them out and just draw attention for his opponent, but also use them to drop Nidus Worms in his opponent's base later on in the game. Would love to see Dark go for some of those. Oliveira, though, successfully stopping this base from coming up and keeping his opponent on now the same number of bases that he is on, and that's not ideal for Dark, who has traded pretty significantly worse at this point. That's another big Widowmine hit there on Lings and Banes. Ooh, beautiful pop-up, though. The Fungal going to trap these ghosts, and every single one of them will die. It's a nice pop-up there from Dark. He loves to do that as well as another tactic that I saw Dark do first, and I feel like I've seen a lot of other Zerg players picking it up, which is those Infestors just hanging out around on the map. We see another Fungal going down here. If he can hit some key Fungals, all it takes is 1 or 2, and those Banelings can start getting on top of stuff. However, Oliveira now has 6 Liberators in the sky, and that's going to force 8 Corruptors to come out. Dark, not ready for it just yet, is going to have to pull back against this force, and that's going to allow Oliveira to take a base. Oliveira continues to push forward, though, as some Biles rain down on the Liberators. The Corruptors have come out, but now we have Infestors just running into their death. Lings and Bane's going to dive forward. The Corruptor's going to be able to take care of these Liberators. Can the Liberators get enough done on the ground to keep Oliveira in this fight? Not quite. The Corruptors will push all of this away. In the meantime, Ultras on a counterattack, not going to be able to chew through this Planetary. They will get most of the SCVs here. 15 SCVs going down, but that is a very much alive Planetary. Oliveira can absolutely build some more SCVs, send them over here, drop some mules. He's got plenty of mule energy around this map. And I feel like Oliveira did better there in that attack than Dark did. Oliveira still has all of his bases alive. Losing some SCVs is painful, but Dark is long distance mining from this base right now because he's essentially on 2 mining bases, like 2.5 otherwise. His mining is pretty abysmal right now. I think he's got 78 drones, but I feel like this graph is kind of lying to us. Oliveira decides to go right back in again, forces a cancel on this base, just trying to cut off Dark's income as much as he possibly can. Another Viper going down. Dark seems to be struggling to deal with this right now. He's dropped down to 100 army supply. Still has some tools at his disposal, and he's going to dive in. Lands a big fungal, but those Widow Mines going off. I don't know if that was... Those Widow Mines were better for Dark or for Oliveira, but it looks like either way, Oliveira is going to close out game number 2 and tie us up 1-1 in this grand finals. Sick game there from Oliveira, man. He did not stop with the pressure at all. Deflected a lot of Dark's attacks, counterattacks. Just kept taking good trades, kept the pressure on. Pulled Dark out of position a couple of different times. There were some key moments in that game. Dark losing his 5th base in the upper right corner of the map, I think was a crucial moment. But also that initial Roach Ravager counterattack felt like it was going to be like arguably game ending, right? And then it like kills the third, forces a cancel on that third base that's building. Delays Oliveira's third by so much. But I think Dark was further behind than I thought. His lair was so late. I think his drone count was pretty low. His 1-1 was nowhere to be seen. And I feel like as the game got into mid-game, Oliveira was actually in a totally fine position and then leveraged that into an advantage over the course of the game, just really not stopping that pressure. Now we're getting into Alcyone for game 3. We'll join our players in here as we spawn in the upper right-hand corner with our Terran player. It is Dragon Kites's Oliveira. He's the player to come from the Kitesy side of that merger. His opponent came from the Dragon Phoenix side of the merger. It is Dark. Dark looking very strong in Atlanta. I think maybe 6 months ago, if you asked me if Dark was going to be finalist in a DreamHack this year, I'm not sure I would have thought he was. He obviously looked quite good, and he had some solid results. But I didn't feel like earlier this year he looked like the Dark I'm used to seeing. But I gotta say, I think that's changed. I feel like the Dark we're used to seeing is here again. He wasn't quite able to take down Clem in the finals, but turns out nobody could take down Clem. Even the GOAT himself struggled against Clem. I was worried, though. The finals of DreamHack Atlanta, just having the younger, European hope that people really wanted to see win and was definitely good enough to win, but hadn't won a big event yet. And this was his chance. And he beat Cyril in the semis. And we're like, oh man, he's going to do it. And he goes up against Dark. I was getting deja vu to the 2019 BlizzCon when all of those exact same things happened with Raynor. And then Dark just bopped him in the finals because he's Dark and that's what he does. And I was like, oh no, dude. We got another storyline for Dark to end. Dark, the professional storyline ender, coming in here. I was so worried that he was just going to Roach Ravager Clem, and Clem was not going to be ready for it. Very thankful that did not happen. And Oliveira again being cheeky and annoying with this Reaper. Keep an eye on the third CC situation here for Oliveira, but yeah, that SCV was looking mighty suspicious. And down it goes. We did see Oliveira do a little cyclone pressure in one of those games against DRG. Did not work particularly well. But keep an eye out for any interesting builds Oliveira might be thinking of. He's certainly not averse to trying different tactics, although it looks like he's, again, just going to be going for a nice Hellion opener here. I guess we did see him go for a Hellbat attack, like a 2-base Hellbat push last game, so he does keep it fresh. Dark, on the other hand, he changes it up pretty much every single game. I don't usually expect to see 2 of the same builds from Dark in a series. He's not your standard average macro every game player. That's what keeps it exciting. No Roach Horn yet, though. Dark is still just chilling. Maybe this is a macro game out of Dark. Maybe this is your standard average everyday macro game. He's going to see this Liberator out, see all these Hellions. He should be able to be ready for this. Spore Crawlers going down. Kind of hoping Oliveira doesn't dive the Hellions in this time. You know, again, that game 1, I feel like that was a big turning point for him. Losing all the Hellions, the counterattack with the Lings, just doing so much damage. I'd love to see him do, yeah, just this kind of stuff. Maybe trade with the Lings if they come out a little bit too far. Ooh, Dark wants to take this base, but Oliveira is going to stop that base. No, he's going to run by. Oh, he's doing it. Where are the Lings? There are a handful of Lings here. Only 3 drones going down so far. Is it the right choice this time? The Liberator unsieges these Hellions, a little bit trapped. But wait a second. The drones! The drones! Whoa, he is going to get 8 of them. I don't think that was worth it. I don't think that was worth it. Again, I don't know that I love that from Dark. I think the Liberator might have gone down as well. Yeah, the Liberator died. All the Hellions died. And Dark's going to run across the map with these Lings. I think Oliveira has enough to deflect this, because there's not that many Lings out. Yeah, it's just 13. So Oliveira should be fine here, but he is going to take a little bit of damage. Loses that depot, loses the SCV. I just don't like that the Terran doesn't have the Hellions anymore, because now this creep spread is completely uncontested. With no Banshees behind this either, there's nothing Oliveira can do about these creep tumors. He's going to get, Dark's going to get 2 full rounds of creep tumors in before the Marines are able to get here. Maybe even 3. That being said, this game's going to be very different from game 1. Oliveira will have all of his Marines ready to go, which means he can move out a lot earlier and start putting that pressure on with the actual good fighting units. But there are 8 roaches on the way for Dark already. He still has those Lings out if he needs to buy a little bit of time, as well as the Queens. But he's got all those roaches ready to go. He's got so many roaches coming out. Goddamn. 15 roaches out on the field. And I don't think Oliveira is expecting there to be 15 roaches at the top of this ramp right now. And he is going to scan and see that and immediately pick up the leave. Ooh, I kind of like this move, though. Instead of picking up the leave, he's going to pick up and at least threaten the drop in the main base. And that's going to delay Dark by quite a bit. In the meantime, yeah, there's like 9 Marines at a time coming out back and home. Also buys enough time for Oliveira to get 1-1 to finish up. So now he's ahead a little bit. Dark is just building roaches, though. He has 66 drones. Roaches, dude. He's Roachman. Roachman. Making all the roaches. Wants to walk across and kill the man. Marine man. Doesn't have enough man to send all of the roaches pack their bags. Good old Roach man. And he's coming in. He's going to start knocking down these depots. SCV's coming off the line. There's the big stim from the Marines. Is it enough here for Oliveira to knock Dark back? Oh, my God. Like 20 more roaches just show up out of nowhere. And Dark, he's looking quite strong here. Oliveira was just not expecting this. Wasn't ready with any tanks. One tank is here, ready to go to defend this base. Woodmine's getting some nice shots, but 20 SCVs have already died. And Dark, I mean, he could just drone up his 4th base behind it. He is going to start doing that now. He can start teching a little bit if he wants to. His 1-1 is done. He can start up, yep, +2 Carapace. There he goes. He's kind of done it already. Like, he's done the damage. He's killed the SCVs. He killed a handful of Marines. He's going to keep pushing his back. He's going to try to bile down these Liberators, actually whipping some of the biles. But he will get both of the Liberators. Pull back. He can kill these depots. Supply block Oliveira. I mean, this is fantastic damage. And Oliveira he wants to take more bases. I think this is a great choice. Dark could try to send some cheeky lings over here, but I don't think he's thinking about this. Bile stake down the tanks. Dark, man, he is not the kind of guy to chill, and he is not chilling. He's going for it. He's like, there's only one tank left. I'm going to bile it down, and then I'm just going to trade with Marines over and over and over again. And Oliveira, he's at 100 supply, trying desperately to get some more units out. Dark, he's just about maxed. 18 more roaches on the way, and he is just going to keep on killing stuff. Biling down another tank. This one is way up on the ramp. Doesn't even cover the whole natural entrance. That +1 is going to get denied by the bile. 9 more SCVs going down. Oliveira's doing his best here, man. He is muling the crap out of this base as much as he possibly can. But Dark, he's busted through. He's going to send just a few units over here and kill some of these fresh mules. Oliveira goes for a massive lift up to get over there, but that's going to leave his natural exposed. No, Oliveira, no. Oh, and I think that's just it. Yep. There's the tap out, the GG Dark. He's the Roach Man. What a banger. What a game. I'm glad Ragnarok at least one person got my Smash Mouth, Astro Lounge, Roadman reference in the year of our Lord 2023. It's almost 2024. And I will still be singing that song. And you know what? Now that 2023 is ending, I can take this moment to make sure everybody knows, everybody who's about my age, probably most of you, because we're all not young. Well, not all of us, most of us. That 2023 is as far away from the song 1985 as 1985 was when that song came out. And that song is about somebody stuck in the past. So if you like that song, I like that song. I think it's by Bowling for Soup. I think I know all the words to that song. I've sang it at karaoke. If you like that song, you are now the old person that song is about. And soon, you'll be even older. Welcome to life. And also, welcome to Game 4. We are here on Solaris, and spawning in the upper right-hand corner, we have Dragon Kite's Oliveira. And his opponent in the lower left, it is Dark. Hold on, we got a scalding hot take from Ragnarok. If All-Star wasn't a giant meme because of Shrek, Astro Lounge would be deep cuts, incredible album. I'm so with you, Ragnarok. Astro Lounge, full of bangers. All-Star, you're right. It wouldn't even be one of the notable songs. I mean, I feel like it would still be a good jam. We'd still have it would still be a good party jam, All-Star. But man, there's so many good songs on that album. It's so good. It's actually that is an album I will genuinely listen through front to back. And there's really not that many albums I do that with. But yes, if anybody wants to get that reference to the Roachman, look up the song Roadman by Smash Mouth. It's a banger. It's a good one. That whole album is full of them. Yeah, who knew we were going to start talking about Smash Mouth in this broadcast? I actually sing the song Radio all the time too. I have a friend who does like music production, and I don't know him as Radio, but I guess that's what like a lot of people know him as. So now whenever I see him and I think that people call him Radio, I sing the song Radio by Smash Mouth. So good. Yeah, I need to listen to that. I have it on CD. I should put it in my 5-disc CD changer. Because, like all cool people, I have a CD player that holds 5 discs. It's sitting on my shelf right next to my record player. You know, you got to keep all the vintage stuff together. Man, I'm glad we're touching on all the important stuff in this cast. I mean, there's really nothing happening in this game, so we've done a good job. This is professional level filling time. Talking about Smash Mouth. That was one of the first CDs I ever got, actually, was Astro Lounge. Maybe that's why I like it so much, but I also just think it's kind of good. I could be slightly biased, though. I remember listening to that song in my, like, boombox that I had back in the day. Any of you kids watching this, you won't get it. You won't understand what it was like to get one of those cool-ass CD players that you put 4 D batteries in and you could take it with you. It was portable, dude. It was portable. If you didn't want to, you know, just have your Discman with you. What the hell is happening in this game? Why is Oliveira's door still open? All right, he's closed it. 9 SCVs went down. There's still more Lings coming across the map. Dark just... How... He's just like, oh, if I build Lings right now, I'll just win this game. 11 SCVs going down. Oliveira finally pushes it away with Hellions and Banshees. There's actually insane amounts of damage. And granted, Dark was late to droning because of that, right? Instead of all those drones he would have made, he made Lings. But, I mean, he still got huge damage done. And now, Oliveira can't leave. He's got to keep these Hellions here. There's still Lings out on the map. The moment he leaves, this Overlord is going to spot it. And those Lings are going to run right in. Actually, you know what my first CDs might have been? Here we go. I'm going to hit you guys with something. I think one of my very first CDs was Now That's What I Call Music. Specifically, I'm pretty sure I got Volume 2. I'll have to look up when that came out. But that's... what a classic. What a classic. They just don't make stuff like that anymore. You know, it's just not the same. Get your Spotify playlist. The Now That's What I Call Music Spotify playlist. Oh, man. Oh, that was for sure the first exposure to gorillas. 100%. No! No, Oliveira, no! Why? The door There wasn't even a door. The hinges weren't on yet. Oh, not the friendly fire. No, no. Those poor SCVs, they trusted the siege tank. The tank's like, I killed all lings, sir. Those poor SCVs, dude. 7 more going down to that run by. I mean, the trades have been dead even, but this feels so much better for Dark. It's 70 to 44 workers. Dark is chilling. I will say his lair is extraordinarily late. We're 7 minutes into this game. But his 1-1 is not that far behind Oliveira's. And I think he also killed like a handful of Marines, handful of those Hellions. So there's just not as much here for Oliveira as it feels like there should be. And I feel like Dark is just really taking control of this game. He's got 3 hatcheries building at once as he is double expanding the 4th and the 5th and taking his macro hatch. His Baneley Nest is finishing up. His 1-1 is finishing up. The lair. He's getting everything going. Even his creep spread is starting to look real mean in the center of this map. It's not really that great anywhere else, but he's got a ton of tumors around. And Oliveira, I mean, he's starting to gather an army. He's got a little drop down here. He's got some siege tanks out. There's a lot of siege tanks when you're playing against somebody going Lingbane. Lingbane Hydra. I feel like Oliveira might have been anticipating roaches again. It's such a common thing for Dark to do, and Dark just not giving it to him. Having these Hellions still alive is nice for Oliveira. It looks like he's going to go for a big old push here. Bringing just about everything with him. He's going to try to push from the bottom side and work his way up towards this 4th. Lings and Banes trying to figure out what this army is. I think he might have realized as Dark's coming down this way now. A few Lings just running into the Hellions willy-nilly. Lings going for a counterattack. There's a siege tank back at home, but 1 tank against Lings is just not the way, and it's going to be a bunch more dead SCVs. This series started out so well for Oliveira, but I feel like Dark is taking control now. And because he double expanded, he's just going to let the base die. He killed 10 SCVs. Lings and Banes coming back in and splash damaging all over those Marines. So a bunch of the reinforcements going down as well. And Oliveira, he kills a base for it. The drones just move to the top side. Dark is still mining very, very nicely here. And he's just biding his time, waiting until he can take a sick engagement. The Queen's going first to tank the shots from the tank. And then that's just going to be it. He's going to push this away. This push is basically done. Oliveira just going to try to drop in, get some kills. He does supply block Dark, which is kind of annoying. Snipes down the Banelings. Really nice sniping there out of Oliveira. Should be able to pick up and escape. Dark has not quite run away with this yet. The army supplies are still very similar. Oliveira's got a 4th base on the way. He did kill the base. I don't want to say that's nothing because it is absolutely something. He's stopping it from being retaken as well. Dark is not able to get a drone down there just yet. However, with Hydras on the way, it's going to make Dark's army a little bit more formidable. There's so many queens here. Like 10 or 11 queens. Crazy. Oliveira, though, not keeping that pressure on him. I feel like that tells me that Oliveira is a little bit scared. Maybe of the counterattacks, maybe of just losing stuff out on the map. But in the previous TVZs, he has been non-stop aggression, just keeping that pressure on over and over and over again. But it seems like every time he tries to do that in this game, he's getting hit with a counterattack. He's forced to lift up into his medevacs, just not getting the damage done. Gonna go clear all this creep now. And Oliveira will be able to take a 4th. Dark's 5th is not yet done. This should put Oliveira in a pretty decent position. Oliveira gonna lift up and keep on clearing that creep. Again, there's like a million tumors here, but Marines make such short work of those. That he is doing a great job keeping this creep back on kind of the bottom half of the map. Hydras here making this a little bit more dangerous for the Medivacs, though. And Dark, in the meantime, despite having a very late lair in this game, got his hive immediately afterwards, as he likes to do. And he's straight into the Vipers. Viper's kind of an interesting choice here. I'm guessing he wants to Parasitic Bomb the Medivacs again. It seemed to work pretty well for him in one of the previous games. There's not really much else the Vipers can do in this scenario. A lot of Widow Mines going off, man, all over the place on this army, but this is going to be another force lift up, and actually a couple Medivacs going to go down here, it looks like. They'll boost away. Dark clearing out the rocks in the middle of the map. He wants to keep this map as open as possible for his Lings and Banes to run through. And Queens will finish that guy off. Dark has re-secured this base to the bottom side. He's now up to 6 bases, 80 drones. But Oliveira's economy is firing up quite nicely. It should be relatively even in terms of the mining for a little while. Oliveira finally getting that pressure going again in multiple locations. Gonna try to hit on the bottom, hit on the top side, but Dark, I mean, Dark is pretty much maxed. He's got enough to deal with this on both fronts. It's about making sure the micro is there for both players. Lynx coming in, getting kind of minced up by the Marines. That ends up being really nice for Oliveira. Just killing Lynx for free. Always a nice thing. Dark doesn't seem like he wants to put too much pressure on the other side of the map. Ooh, there's those parasitic bombs. Killing a couple of the Medivacs. Most of the Marines and Marauders going down. But now that Oliveira is kind of expanding forward, I wouldn't be surprised to see Dark putting a little bit more pressure on, trying to keep him back on just those 4 bases. And sees the rest of the army showing up, and Dark's going to group everything together. Even got the Queens here for this one. Looks like we might have an engagement. Oh, not quite. Dark deciding to pull back instead. It's so back and forth. Dark does not want to commit off creep. He's waiting for Oliveira to come to him a little bit. But now he's just going to go for kind of a counterattack on the top side, sending a lot of the Lings in. That's going to be a lot more dead SCVs. Oh, even getting a lot of those supply depots. Yeah, just 5 more dead SCVs. Oliveira pushing away the rest of the army. These Lings are doing a lot of damage over here, but they'll get cleaned up, taken care of. Surprised we haven't seen that burrow play from Dark. He likes to just send a few Lings in, burrow them down. At the very least, it forces some scans before they die. Dark has not stopped his base from becoming a planetary. It looks like he's thinking about going in on it. He's got 24 Banelings morphing. Stopping Oliveira from mining at this base would be pretty big. And yeah, he's going to try to get on top of it. Banelings rolling through. SCVs repairing up until they die. They're there to the last. And that's going to be the W out of Oliveira. He just taps out, recognizing that he's not going to be able to keep up with that army of Dark. And Dark, despite starting off, I believe it was, yeah, started off 1-1. Dark won the first game, but Oliveira felt like he was starting to pull it back. Dark says no. He says, no, I'm going to shut it down. Says the BlizzCon World Champion is going to beat the Katowice World Champion once again. And Dark wins the final KSL of 2023.